Hey guys, here we are in our third video of lesson 10, and we are working on number 3. So hopefully you're there in your book and you're ready to take notes, and here we go. What we are thinking about is when we multiply two fractions together, if one of them is larger than 1, sometimes the answer is larger than 1, sometimes the answer isn't larger than 1, and why? So let's see if we can figure that out. What do you notice about these fractions that we have here, besides the fact that we don't have an area model? Also, we don't have our known products anymore. Now we're going to have to do it more on our own, and hopefully we've learned from our known products. So we have 3/4 times 6/5. Okay, so let's change it to our unit fractions, which means the 1 is on the top, but it's the same denominator. And instead of 6/5, we're going to do 1/5. Just take the 6 away, but keep the same denominator, and then multiply by 3 and 6 because it's basically 3/4, right? And it's 6/5, so 6 of those. All right, so that would be 3 times 4 is 20, so we're going to have 20ths. And then 3 times 6 is 18, so we have 18 20ths. So make sure you're writing this down for part A. If you want to draw an area model to help you out, of course, you can do that. So what I want you to think about is 3/4. Think about that as a fraction, right? That's 3 out of 4. That's getting close to 1. It's definitely closer than it is to 0. And 6/5, that's more than 1. 18 20ths is almost 1, right? So you might start to see that really determining if it's going to be more than 1 or less than 1 has to do with the size of the fractions, right? If you have one that's over 1 but just barely multiplying by something that's really small, like 1 out of 20, 1/20, then your answer is still going to be less than 1. Okay, so let's check that out. Then we have 9/10 times 5/4. So let's do, changing it to unit fraction, 1/10. Sorry, that doesn't look quite like a 0. There we go. 1/10 times 1/4 times 9 times 5, right? Just separating those out like we've been doing this whole lesson. And now we have 1/10 times 1/4 is 40ths. 9 times 4 is 36. So 36 40ths, right? Once again, very close to 1, right? 36 out of 40. There's only 4 more 40ths to get to 1. And 9/10, that's almost 1. And 5/4. Oh, I see I made a mistake there. You didn't yell at me and tell me that I made a mistake. This should have been a 5. So 9 times 5 is 45. I'm sorry. Oh, teachers make mistakes. How about that? 45 40ths, that is more than 1, right? That would be 1 and 5 40ths. Yeah? Okay, so sorry for copying that wrong. We do have more than 1 here. And if you think about it, 9 out of 10 is almost 1. And then 5/4 is more than 1. So that makes sense that we ended up being more than 1. Just by a little bit, right? Okay, let's try 2/11 times 13/5. Changing it to unit fractions. 1/11 times 1/5. Make sure I get my numbers right this time. 2 times 13. Okay. And then multiplying it all up, 1 times 1 times 2 times 13 would be 26. 11 times 5 is 55. 26 55th. So 2/11ths, pretty much more close to 0 than it is to 1. And 13/5, ooh, 13/5. So 5/5 is 1. 10/5 is 2 over 2, right? And we're still having only 26 out of 55. So think about that. Maybe even draw it out on an area model to show it to yourself. That's what happens when you multiply by something really small, even if it's more than 2. Okay? And then 10/13, once again, 1/13 times 1/3 times 10 times 4. I'm just going to write 40th, 10 times 4. And that would be 13 times 3, 39. It's okay to write it out if you need to, right? 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 1 is 3. And 40. So that's one more, right? That's 1 and 1/39. So think about that one. Here we had 10/13, almost 1, and 4/3, 1 and 1/3. So that's more than 1. And we ended up with just a little over 1. Okay, so what we discovered is that it depends on the size of the fractions when you're multiplying, right? If you had like 100 over 10, that would be 10. So your answer is going to obviously be more than 1, depending on what you're multiplying by. So hopefully you got that and you're ready to do your work. If you need anything, make sure that you are writing these things down. Pause me if you need to. And thank you for your hard work. Come see me in class. And aloha.